Hello. Hello and welcome everybody to the next in our occasional series of BTRM video interviews. Today we're going to talk about a subject that is beyond possibly what BTRM has done traditionally. BTRM, of course, standing for Bank Treasury Risk Management. Today we're going to talk about the value of diversity and specifically gender diversity. But I thought we don't really need any external guests because I'm really rather inordinately proud of the fact that the BTRM faculty itself exhibits reasonable, well, considerable diversity inclusion within its makeup. So if we're going to talk about gender diversity and the value thereof, who better than members of our own faculty to discuss this with us? Okay, so it's my great pleasure to welcome, first of all, in the room, Miranda Love, who is with State Street here in London, the US Bank, within their credit finance division, head of ESG. That's very topical. And on screen, we have Beata Lubinska, who is treasurer at Alika Bank, here also in London. Well, Alika Bank is in the UK. On our faculty, and also joining us is Natasha Bourne, who is a manager in the banking audit practice with Deloitte. All, of course, members of our faculty as well. Apologies from another founder member of our faculty, Polina Bardeva. She sends her regards to all of you and all of us. She's literally a day or two away from giving birth, so we thought that was reasonable, good grounds for not being able to make this call. But she sends her regards nonetheless. So we're going to have a chat for 10-15 minutes about this very topical subject, and then hopefully we'll have some good conclusions to take away and draw from that. I should just say that when I say it's topical, it's also topical from a regulatory point of view, because those of us in the UK will know that the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, in the summer published a paper on, for example, minimum makeup of boards and executive management functions within banks and financial institutions in the UK, minimum numbers by gender and ethnic diversity, which again got me to thinking, what's the best way to approach the issue of diversity? Is it through regulatory fiat, or is it possible to get good practice simply because there is value in following diversity and inclusion irrespective of the rules? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. In case I didn't mention at the start, but my name's Moorad Choudhry, and I'm going to be doing less of the talking if possible and leave it to our faculty guests to do more of the talking. So let's start first of all with yourself, Miranda. I wanted to just get your views generally on why this is a good thing. What would you say are the benefits, the value of having a diverse workforce, not just in banking, but also within the treasury and risk space in banking?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for having me today. So I'll definitely be speaking in a more generalistic format. But I think diversity provokes and empowers people to come together, share different ideas, bring creative solutions to the table. I think it's really important bringing in a diverse population and a diverse group to the discussion, because it promotes diversity of thought. Everyone, no matter how they look or what they believe in, obviously can differ on a spectrum in a very myriad way. And I think no matter what the topic is, if you have different people, a diverse set of people at the table, it does promote just new ideas. It promotes a more healthier and richer environment.
Right. So, and you mentioned this expression, diversity of thought.
Mm-hmm.
That's as important, I think, to others.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. Beata, what would your thoughts be on that same subject?
Thank you very much, Moorad, for the invitation. So I would like just to follow up on what Miranda just said. So allowing diversity in our life, not only work, is how we find out all the brilliant ideas out there in the world. Having diversity and inclusion will improve the balance of opinions, of views in any setting. And as you said, diversity brings a lot of benefits, and diversity empowerment is having a lot of benefits in the work environment. The research, quite recent research, shows a clear correlation between gender ethic diversity and profitability. So apparently there is increased companies' profitability by 19-20% if they increase or empower the diversity across the company. So when you interact, socialize, work with people from different experience, background, views, you can learn from people and you can hear them. So in my view, this is one of the most important benefits from diversity.
So in fact, it's not just because it might appear to look good or be doing the right thing. Actually, the shareholder sees a benefit in your return. And I think you were quoting from more than one, quite a number of academic studies that actually demonstrate this empirically, that there is a benefit to be had. Now, that's so I'm sure we're all in violent agreement here on that. I don't think anyone would, that's a fairly unarguable point that you've made. Maybe not in the entire population of the world, but most people in the city, I would say, yes, there's a benefit to it. Let me just focus on gender diversity and the benefit specifically there for banks. Okay, there's a potential uptick, all else being equal, of course, economists' favorite expression, potential uptick in return, shareholder return, the profitability, return on capital. What other benefits would you say come from gender diversity? Perhaps feel free to, your own experience within the workforce, within finance and banking, but also what you've observed around the world amongst colleagues. What other benefits would come specifically from gender diversity, other than also empirical evidence of return profitability, returns increasing?
So I would say, first of all, that women and men, they should all have the same opportunity to work, to increase the profitability, to enjoy the work path career. And qualified female candidates may emerge from different sectors of the financial industry, or are in finance but outside the financial services, or women from non-profit experience and small business owners, which can bring local market knowledge and increase this kind of profitability of the company. So I think that all board members should make this thoughtful composition of the board committees, and there should be ongoing engagement. These women which are brought to the board committee should feel welcome. There should be the continuous support from the key board members when it comes to diversifying. I'm lucky because I am in the company which welcomes gender diversity, which welcomes ethnic diversity, origin diversity. So I feel really lucky, and I would encourage all other companies, banks, to do the same, to increase the presence of women in board member, as a board member and committee.
Great, thank you. Miranda, did you have any thoughts to add?
Yeah, I echo your comments as well, but I think also to add, I think when you welcome gender diversity specifically, you're also saying that you want to evolve as a company as well. You want to learn from what you've done in the past. You don't want to repeat. You want to grow. And so whether the past birthed mistakes or not, I think when you welcome women or any diverse population to the table, you're more than likely to learn and grow from the past than to kind of repeat itself.
Absolutely, yes, couldn't agree more. That's the thing, you see. It's not, this isn't political correctness is the way I see it. It's you actually, there's a richness in the background, the experience that contributes to a better result in the end, because you're exchanging ideas and you've got that diversity of thought. So it points to, you've got more chance of delivering diversity of thought within either the strategy meeting or the boardroom or even just on the Treasury desk, because you have that diverse background to start with. Absolutely. Okay, so let's get on to a second point that I think of practical value, hopefully, say it in the City of London or banks anywhere in the world, really. If a bank recognised that it needed to do something in this space for gender diversity, not because it had consciously followed any kind of prejudicial policies in recruitment, but it's simply its current makeup didn't reflect the makeup of the population or its customer franchise or indeed all its stakeholders, what would you suggest banks should be doing to address improving their gender diversity score What would you think are, steps they could be taking practically to address this? Miranda, do you want to take that one first?
Yeah, I'll speak to my own experience. I find when companies invest in their staff internally or in their outreach, I find that you're able to create an environment that promotes diversity. And what I mean by that is, having sponsorship programs, right. Having someone to advocate for you, kind of taking a long-term strategy approach to ensuring you have diverse candidates and diverse thought at the table. And how you might do that is through succession planning. So, if you know that, your committee boards are on a 5-year rotation, and you note that, as you say, the makeup of the board is skewed heavily towards a certain group, whether that's male or not, identify some potential strong women candidates in this conversation and work with them to say, I'd like you to be on this board in 5 years. Okay, this is the skills that you need to fine tune to get there and work with them. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're scrambling to fulfill a spot or a position, and then not being able to do that and kind of having to overlook talent that's internal because you're kind of scrambling. Make a plan, execute that strategy. And I think there's ways to do that through, like I said, mentorship programs, sponsorship programs, and that kind of methodic succession planning.
Okay, thank you. So be proactive about it.
Yeah.
Have that long-term view. So you're addressing when the vacancies come up and start working towards filling those now. So you're not, as you say, scrambling around. Excellent, thank you. Beata, any suggestions you would have?
Yes, so I just want to recall on my previous statement that, as I said, that we can find many qualified female candidates from other different sectors. So as I said, it's not necessary that they have to come from, Treasury or from financial services. They could be, like I said, the small business owners, could be people with the local market knowledge, which could bring this additional value to the board of directors of a bank, and could provide this spectrum of different perspective and experience to the board itself. So it has to be the composition, in my view, of different backgrounds, of different perspective, in order to enrich and to increase the profitability and increase also the structure, internal structure in terms of diversity of the institution. The other one could be, as already Miranda said, which I would emphasize, is the support from the mentoring from the other member of the board, or a male member of the committee, or other male senior management, in order to support the willingness to have women on board, that they feel welcome, that they feel appreciated, and it doesn't matter from where they are coming from. It doesn't matter what is their background. It doesn't matter. The only one thing which matters is that we are working together for our best, doing the best for the company, and this is our priority.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think it's hard. I would struggle to find a right-thinking person that would find anything to argue in any of that. But that said, one does observe still, bad practice, outdated culture, still in place, even not necessarily so much right here in the City of London, but that again, it's not completely immune, and perhaps in some more regions than others. As a statement of good practice, everything you've both said makes perfect sense. What about when, just hypothetical issue where, yes, we say the right thing here, we put it on our mission statement, we have it in our policies and all that, but I look at the actual reality on the ground and it doesn't reflect the good intentions or the good platitudes made. How can we break that sort of thing? Because that is more common. A bank, let's just stick to banking because that's what we're familiar with, well, me personally anyway. A bank can say all the right things, and all of them do, but I look at the makeup and some of them are more ahead of the game than others. What's to be done when we observe the practical reality not reflecting the mission statement? What can we do there? I mean, it's a long-term thing. What could we do if we had a 5 to 10 year view to change it so the reality on the ground reflected the mission statement and the policy statement?
In my view, it has to be gradual, Moorad. It's not necessary the one-shot and short-term process. I think that as a society, this is what I'm observing. Banking industry is evolving. And it's continuous evolving, because I did not have any problem in my life until now to get senior management position, because I was recognized by my knowledge, by my experience, and not because I'm a woman. So for me, the most important thing is to make awareness that women could be also, like men, at the same extent, very good candidate for the position. It should be just, judged on the same perspective, on the same level. So if someone is better at the particular technical skills which are needed for the position, then let's take that person. I wouldn't necessarily, this is what I would like to highlight, force on banks to, you need to have some proportion of female board members, but I would rather leave it to the natural evolution, which sooner or better will come, because we women, we are strong. We are qualified to do our job. No, we are qualified to do our job, and we don't need to prove it. We just are the same like men. So.
I think I'll piggyback off that, because obviously, as you said, the FCA came out with a consultation paper asking for feedback, and they are looking to push banks to, I think, 40% women, yes, on their boards. So in some ways, I agree with you. You want it to happen naturally, but in some ways, if banks aren't keeping up with other industries, or if for whatever reason they're not able to respond in a quick enough manner, I guess in some ways policy may be necessary. But I also would hate to see action where women who are basically being set up to fail are getting put in those positions. So you don't want that to occur. Yeah. So I think it's a mix of kind of, okay, we need to hold you accountable, but then you need to have a plan in place to ensure that we as strong women, are not being set up, to fail. And I do think ultimately, we'll get there. But it's a slow kind of burn, and kind of figure out how we're going to get there. It's not going to happen overnight. The problem itself didn't occur overnight. It's been years and years of kind of really embedded in people's thought and actions. So we will need to take time to kind of figure out the right plan of action personally, and and as an industry as well.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I agree. It's a long-term thing. It gets fixed over time, doesn't it? Sometimes I'm going to, like all good facilitators, see the merit in both your arguments. And I'm going to say, I think it needs to be there. It's a bit of a carrot and stick. Over time, most banks would be in the right position, but one or two might need to be held accountable if over time they haven't fixed, what they saw as a problem to start with. Okay, great. Thank you for that, both of you. Now, Natasha, you had a question that you wanted to ask your colleagues on the faculty as well. Did you want to jump in with that now?
Yes, of course. No, thank you both for kind of your insightful views there as well. I think for any kind of young women watching this, so whether they might be, relatively young, still at school or at university, or kind of starting out their career in finance, what kind of hints, kind of lessons learned would you have for kind of those women who are just kind of starting their career, and maybe are looking at boards that might not be as diverse, particularly in banks, as kind of, per the FCA consultation paper? And what would be your kind of, hints and tips?
Do I go first? Yeah. Okay. I'll speak to maybe a little bit of my journey. I think what I would say is be open to different opportunities. Be open to really push yourself and put yourself out there and take on a new challenge, because I think that makes you a well-rounded, diverse person, in addition to already being a very interesting and diverse woman. I would say really identify and find someone as you go through your career that can really advocate for you. And that might be a woman, it might be a man, it might be, you know, whoever it is. I would say also, but make sure that person has the ability to advocate for you and influence change. And that might take a couple of people, a couple of mentors to kind of figure out who that is. You know, I've had a number of wonderful mentors, but there came a point where that person just wasn't in a position to really kind of make some of these kind of goals kind of really come to fruition. But they were at least able to help me build the confidence and the ability to then feel able to, you know, ask the head of whatever department or a senior person, you know, will you be my sponsor? Will you help me to take that next step? So I think be open to those relationships, whether or not they're kind of short-term or long-term, and be open to taking on different opportunities, because by doing that, you're gaining exposure to different backgrounds, different subjects, different topics, that then might allow you to be the next perfect candidate to be on a board, whether that's a board of a bank or a board of a nonprofit, you know, and it just builds character as well.
Yeah, I would fully agree with Miranda. And also I would say that network and expansion of the network is the crucial point. We need to have right people around us. We need to have people who we can trust and who are willing to help us if we need. But what I would say, my main message based on my own personal career path, is to be myself. To be yourself, believe in yourself, because it is the most important thing. Don't fear that, for example, you will be judged or someone will criticize your work. Just follow your heart, and you need to love your work. The only one place which will, you know, you will be appreciated and you will be recognized is only when you do your work with passion. So passion and love for your work.
Excellent. Can't disagree with any of that. Thank you. Natasha, did you have any follow-up to that? Are you happy with that? I mean, I was happy with that.
Yeah, no, very happy. I think kind of for people watching, there's some very kind of motivating views, and particularly kind of Beata, you're right, you know, we spend quite a lot of our lives at work, really. And so it has to be something that you enjoy, and also working in an environment that is inclusive and that kind of makes you feel welcome as well. And that you can, you know, not a bit corny, but bring your whole self to work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Excellent. No, fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. I really enjoyed that. Both of you, with that answer, that last answer, I just thought absolutely that's good advice for anyone starting out, irrespective of whatever background, because a hunger to learn. You, Miranda, you mentioned about get different experiences, learn. Beata, you talk about being yourself. Natasha, you know, bring your whole self. Be bold. Take on challenges. You know, that's the way to get something out of what you do, as well as give. And of course, be passionate about everything you do, but that's a good truism for life, right? Not just your career. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed that. My thanks on behalf of all our viewers to Miranda Love, ESG, Beata, ESG, Miranda Love, State Street Bank. Thank you. My apologies. It's all over the shop me today. Beata, Lubinska, Alika Bank, I got that right, and Natasha, Bourne at Deloitte. Thanks very much, and thanks for listening, and we will see you soon. Thanks for joining us. All the best.
Thank
Bye.
you very much.
Thank you.